back in the kitchen, and today I'll be making pineapple jam. So this is how we start. So I bought 3 pineapples at Costco a couple days ago, over the weekend I should say. Today is what, Tuesday? And I got them to get really, really ripe. See, look how yellow they are. Well, I peeled one already, but I'm gonna peel these 2 and show you how I go about preparing for my pineapple jam. So with me I have a cutting board, lay this flat, and a nice fruit and vegetable knife, very well sharpened. You need a sharp knife to do this. And the first thing I do is I cut the bottom off. And I'm gonna put the skins in here for composting, because as I told you before, I compost. So I'm gonna put them in there. The next thing I do, of course, you're gonna make sure your hands are very clean. And you can do it 2 ways. You can either, I'm gonna do it one way first, and I'm gonna show you the other way. And then the next thing I do is I cut the head off. Now, if this head is in good shape and it's not pulling apart like this is, and it's still fully green, you can plant another pineapple. You can plant this head and start another pineapple plant. That's how that can be done. So after I cut the head, the bottom off and the top off, I peel along the sides of the pineapple. I try not to go too far in, because you want to lose as little flesh of the pineapple as possible. And as I said, the knife should be very sharp, and then it just slides along the side. Slide along the the side of the pineapple. And it's fairly easy. And I'm almost done already, guys. Almost done. But I'm doing it carefully because I don't want to lose a lot of the flesh from my pineapple. Now these pieces, I am gonna throw away, put it in my composter for my garden. Now I go along it again, and there's several ways you can do this, but this is the easiest way for me. And I go along the eyes of the pineapple, that's what we call it, the eyes, to remove the big eyes. Some people go in a different way to do it, but this is the way I have mastered. And I try to get out as much of that as I possibly can without losing a lot of flesh. Because in the pineapple jam, you don't want to see a bunch of little black heads or brown heads or whatever this little black thing is. You know, these little brown eyes are, yeah, they call them eyes, I guess. And I go along and I remove all of that. And because the knife is very sharp, it's not difficult to do so. To lose as little as possible. Along the end, I just gently cut that part off. Here, I go along this to remove those eyes. It can be very slippery at times, so just be careful so you don't slip and cut your fingers with the knife. And I just try and move all of this. These look like little seeds that come out of the side of the pineapple, because pineapple does produce seeds also. So all of that, I make sure I remove it, and I cut these little heads out as much as I can. And I check all the way around the pineapple. This is a little rough area. And I remove all those. And I'm almost done with this one. This little part here looked like it was trying to And there we go, we're almost done cutting out all those little eyes off the pineapple. Now I'm gonna just rest this pineapple in this bowl for the time being, and I'm going to show you another way of cutting the pineapple. So first, of course, you're going to cut the bottom off. Composter, and then some people just hold it like this and peel it, so they have something sturdy to hold on to. And that's, you know, I do either or. And they cut along and they peel the pineapple like this. These are not super fat pineapples, but they are sweet. And I'm gonna turn all 3 of them, I had one cut before, into pineapple jam. My husband likes pineapple jam. I guess it's one of those things they eat in England a lot. I have been to England, but I did not live there. But he was born there and lived there for quite some time. And this is one of the things they enjoy in England. So I promised him that I would go ahead and make this pineapple jam for him. Let me just clean off here because all that will go right back into there. I don't want it to go on there. Put it on here. If I would learn how to make this jam, and I sure did. Now I'm gonna go back and try and cut out all these big eyes I'm seeing, because apparently I did not peel it deep enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Try not to lose too much of the flesh. Oops, that one is kind of deep. Coming up this way has proven to be a little bit easier for me. And because my hand isn't there and I'm holding the top of the pineapple, I'm not worried about getting cut. Yeah, these eyes are quite deep for some reason in this. And you know, pineapple has many different species, so some are a little bit easier than others to peel. And then the base, I'm just gonna go around and just cut the base off. Like it's trying to cause a problem. All right, now I think I got most of it. If I see any others, I'll work on it. And then I just cut the head off. As easy as that. Can you zoom in? And I peeled another one. All right, now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna rest it over here also. And I'm gonna clean my board from all the peeling. Got those in my composter bin. Wipe this off really well because I want nothing to get into my pineapple meat. Now, after that is done, the next thing I'll do is cut the pineapple in two to get rid of the core. There's a core from the top to the bottom that I need to get rid of. And I just cut the pineapple in two. People do this many different ways, but this is how I do it. And oftentimes when we peel pineapple, we do not get rid of the core. We just eat everything because it's good fiber. But when you're making jam, you have to get rid of the core. It doesn't work well in the jam. So I cut the pineapple in half, and then I cut it again a half in another half. That's how I do it. And some people have some kind of a core thing, but I think I'd be very clumsy with it. And I just go along the core, and that's how I take the core out, just like how you see me do it here. And I do that with the other part until I'm totally done. And you can kind of know where the core is. Now if you still see some core, you can go back in. And it can be very slippery, guys. You go back in, or you can cut it in a smaller piece and you get the core out. Just like that. But whatever you do, or however you get it out, make sure you're doing it in a safe way so you don't hurt yourself. Not necessarily how I just did it, but make sure you don't cut yourself. So now I'm gonna cut it up in cubes, like I've done here before with the first one. And then I was like, darn, I should have recorded this so that I can show you guys how I go about doing this. So I left the other two for us to do together here on the channel. So I cut the pineapple in smaller chunks, just like this. And this knife is super sharp, guys. My husband sharpened it. So be careful. If you sharpen your knives, be careful. They will cut your fingers off. And yeah, this one is super sharp. I don't know what he sharpened it with, but it's gliding through the pineapple like nobody's business. And here's another. So we just cut them in smaller cubes. And I will do that all the way until I'm totally finished with cutting up the pineapple. And then after this, you will see how I go about making the pineapple jam. It's fairly easy and quick. Well, hi friends, we're gonna continue preparing the pineapple for the jam. So I'm gonna scoop these. I see a piece here that has a little brown spot in it. So I'm gonna scoop it into my food processor, just to make things a little bit easier. You can do it a number of ways. I'm just gonna use my food processor to break it down a little bit before we put it before we put it in the pot to make the jam. All right, so you can watch me while I do this. Oh, I forgot to plug it in. And I'm just gonna pulse it because I don't want it to grind too finely, but fine enough to make the jam consistent. Let me see if it's at the texture I like. Now I think I can do it a little more. All right, let's see. Yep, that looks good. And I'm gonna pour it directly into this 7-quart pan. And this is where we're gonna cook down the jam. All right, and that's roughly, how many? 8 cups. I think no, this one is 6 cups. It's gonna be quite a bit of jam. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. And they say when you're making pineapple jam, people make it several ways. I'm just gonna do the 2-ingredient one, where it's just pineapple and sugar. And they say 1 cup of pineapple to 1 cup of sugar. But I'm not gonna do it exactly that way. I'm gonna taste it as it goes along because I do not want to use too much sugar. But I'm gonna break up the cubes into smaller pieces with this food processor so that it won't be too lumpy. You know, you don't want too much of a lumpy jam. Actually, I think that was just 4 cups. Yep, that's good enough. See a pineapple seed. I don't want that in my, sorry. Pour it directly in the pot. So that's about 8 cups right there. And I might have to do maybe one more, or one more should do it, I think. And guys, I started this yesterday where I peeled the pineapple and everything, but I started a little late, so I was a little bit tired, so I decided to continue the process today. So we're gonna finish it up today. We're gonna make the jam and we're gonna can the jam today. So that's, oops. So, and this is a Ninja food processor. I like this one. It holds a lot. This is a Ninja food processor. But there are many different kinds of food processors. It doesn't matter which one you use. You just want to get the results you want. You want to find a consistency with a little bit of chunks. All right, let's see if that's to what I like it. I'm going to do it a little more. In the meantime, over here, I'm boiling my canning lids. And so I'm going to turn it off now and leave it in the warm water to sterilize the lids. All right. And I think we're done with this part of the process. It's making a little too much noise for my liking. All right. So here we are. We have about 12 cups of pineapple, crushed pineapple. Now, they say usually is 1 cup of sugar to 1 cup of pineapple. And guys, guess what? I forgot to take the sugar out. But guess what? That's all right. That's life. I will grab it right while you guys are watching. And my jar is also out. I do not use a lot of sugar on a daily basis. But I do have some to replace. And I will be using organic cane sugar. It's lighter in complexion than the dark sugar, which will maintain that beautiful pineapple yellow color once it's done processing. All right, here we go. All right, so that's about 12 cups of pineapple. Because I was measuring it off the food processor cup, which tells me on the side how many cups it is once I was done. I'm not gonna put 8 cups of sugar. This is a 1 cup measuring cup. I am gonna put about, this is 12 cups, so I'm gonna put maybe 9, and then we go from there. And I'm trying to make it 11 cups, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm only gonna use 6. That looks like a lot of sugar. Once it starts melting, you can always add more, right? And I'm gonna put it on my fire. No, I will add 1 more. It looks like it's gonna need it. All right. So I'm gonna turn on my flame while I mix it together. So I'm mixing up the sugar with the pineapple, and I'm gonna put it on. I'm trying to start it for it to start boiling. All right, so I'm gonna mix this around with the sugar. Make sure that the sugar is evenly dispersed in the pineapple, and then I'm gonna leave it on low flame for it to start boiling. And no matter how well you peel the pineapple, guess what? You're gonna see these little things pop up, but just take them out if you see them so that you will not see it in your jam. Well, I have the flame on at about a little bit more than medium high, like a high medium, and I'm gonna let this thing start bubbling up and see what becomes of it. Now, some people do it with, they say that if you put a quarter tablespoon of butter, it will not froth up as you prepare it. So I'm gonna wait and see how it turns out. All right, so here it starts, guys. Here it starts. So I'm gonna let it start bubbling up, and without stirring it, because if you keep stirring it will not get too hot. I'm gonna let it start bubbling up, and then I'll turn down my heat. I'm gonna cover it for a few minutes because I don't want it to burn, and I'll watch it. Now let me get a piece of that butter. You see, about a tablespoon of butter to put in there, and it helps to prevent that frothing, which you will see. So now it starts to boil. I'm gonna give it a gentle stir, but if you notice, it froths. Now, some people will skim the froth off, and one particular jam maker said you should put like a tablespoon of butter, and it will help with that frothing. I'm gonna try that and see what happens. It tastes lovely though, guys. I didn't put all that amount of sugar that they said. They said about a tablespoon, so I'm gonna drop that in there. That's enough for that, and it should decrease this amount of frothing that you see. So I'm gonna stir it in. Let's see if that works out. You see, it really helps. So we'll see. And it's starting to caramelize, I would say. You know, when it starts boiling down in its natural sugars. Then I'm gonna do it a taste test and add more sugar if necessary. And I think I might add some lemon juice also. I think I changed my mind about just using the pineapple and that, because I want it to have a sweety, tarty taste. See, there it goes. So I'm gonna turn on the fire now and gently stir, because you don't want it to burn. There we go. Allow it to do its little thing. Yes, it starts to, and the consistency, guys, is beautiful. I think I grounded it just enough, so it's not too clumpy. Yeah. So now it still has a little froth on top, which I can skim off, but I'm gonna allow that butter to take care of that. If it doesn't, I will definitely skim the top off to give it that nice consistency. And it does have a beautiful color. I'm sorry if you can hear that loudness outside. There's a helicopter passing overhead. I have no control over that, so Hopefully you can hear me. And see, the froth, most of the froth is disappearing, guys. I'm gonna let it boil a little bit more, and then I'm gonna taste to see how sweet it is, if it's to my taste. Because in this pineapple jam making, I will not be using pectin, because the pineapple has its own pectin, and it will just take a little bit longer with the boiling process for it to thicken. And all of that you will see as this whole thing boils down. It will take a few minutes, but it's worth the wait. It's gonna be delicious. And you just stir every now and then to prevent any kind of sticking to the bottom, like burning or anything like that. I'll take some of this off. The butter did reduce it, but it has too much to my liking. So let it does its thing, and then I'm gonna taste it. I think it has enough sugar, but I'm gonna have you, my husband, taste it and tell me. I think it might need a little bit more.
Yeah, just a tad bit more.
Nice color. Nice, rich, yellowy, goldy color. I think I'm gonna put a little bit of lemon juice also to give it a little bit more tart. I'm gonna use one of this here. This is gonna be about and that's, I'm using the Italian Volcano 100% organic lemon juice. I just used this is roughly maybe 2 tablespoons, maybe 2.5 tablespoons. I just put in there just to enhance that kind of sweetish, sourish flavor. So guys, it is now coming down, you know, like it's boiling down. You can see the thickness has increased, and it's coming to the point where eventually, or very soon, I will be able to start the cooking process of this jam, and we'll be able to bottle it up. See, it's getting really thick and nice. So I'm gonna let it cook down a little bit more, and then we will turn it off and we'll start the canning process. I am gonna get the canning pot. Almost done. Now guys, this is how it looks. It's almost towards the end, nice and thick. Oh, look at that nice yellow goldy color. It's beautiful. All right, I think I'm gonna call it done. A few more minutes and then I'm done. Let me put the timer on for 5 minutes, and then that's it, guys. Yep, it's not as liquidy as before. See, it's coming down. Does it need a little bit more coming down? It's getting thicker and thicker. So now I have turned off the stove, and I will be taking the pot over to the island to can the pineapple jam. All right, so there we go, guys. So here I have 2 pots, guys. This pot is where I'm gonna do the water bath, and that's how I'm gonna what I'm gonna do with the pineapple jam is once I jar them, I put them in the water bath for 10 minutes, and that will help with this, with the jar being sealed for preservation, so we can keep it on our shelves for quite some time. Now here is the jam. All right, and this is where I will be canning it. So I'm gonna get the jars. Here I have my jars, and we're gonna water bath it. So you have to put hot product in warm jars in warm water. And so we'll be going back and forth, showing you the process. Is my jelly, and it has like a amber color. Now if you use white sugar, it would have more of a yellow color. This is still a nice golden color for pineapple jelly, and I use cane sugar, the unrefined cane sugar, organic, and this is the color it comes out with, a beautiful nice golden color. Now I'm gonna can my jelly, and this may give me a number of jars of jelly. Now here I have of course I have my jam. I have a debubbler, and you'll see what I use this for. I have a magnet. This is the thongs. And in here I have my my lids, which were previously sterilized, and my canning funnel. Now I'm gonna can each of these one at a time. Now this is 6 ounce jars, and we're gonna can it, giving it a 1/4 head space. So I'm gonna start doing that now. I'll mix it around and make sure I put it closer. And I move from jar to jar, and all these jars have been sterilized. They were in the oven at 225 degrees for quite some time. So that's one jar done. Take a little more in this one. Fill one of these up. Oops, I did too much in there. I'm gonna take some out of this because I don't want it to siphon all over the pot. All right, so I got 8 6-ounce jars and one, this is half a pint. No, not half a pint. Yes, half a pint. I think that's half a pint. What do you call it? Whatever it is. All right, now I'm gonna cover them up. And this has a magnet and it grabs the lid. That one, that one. Actually, I did something wrong, guys. I just messed up. I have to wipe out each one of these jars with some. I just mixed up my vinegar also. So I'm gonna use a clean paper towel and I'm gonna wipe off the sides of these jars. I mean the tips of these jars, the opening. Make sure there's no residue of fruit or liquid so that they'll seal properly. And they are hot. Boy, quite hot. All right. I should. Yeah, that's enough. All right, so now we're gonna put the lids on. One more to go. They're stuck on each other. I'll touch the inside of it, so that's fine. And then now I'm gonna attach my rings. This looks beautiful. So now we're gonna put the bands on, and here's the first band on here. You're gonna put it on. They're a little bit warm, so I'm gonna use a paper towel because they're kind of, and you screw it fingertip tight. Right? You don't want to make it too tight. You go to the next one. Fingertip tight. And oops, whoa, I have to fix that one. And then you do fingertip tight. You don't want to. You don't want to do over tighten it because you can crack your jars, and you also want to do it just enough to let the air bubbles get out. Now there's one thing I did not do, guys. I forgot to. See, I'm getting tired. But get the air bubbles out. I should have done this with all of them, and I didn't. So now I have to go back and do all of that. It's steps that you have to take. And I'm just gonna do it real quick. The debubbler, so you know everything has air in it, so you're gonna use this to get rid of the excess air. So I'm gonna have to do all of these over because I want to make sure they're done properly. I'm gonna leave those right there. I don't foresee a problem. It's all trial and error, but these I'm gonna go back and do that. I'm gonna leave those two and see what happens. They should seal regardless, but they tell us we should always do it that way. So that since I remembered, I'm just gonna redo these. So we're gonna put these back on. This one has some stuff on it, so these have water. And these, I did not touch the insides of them, so I'm just gonna gently put them back on. I just drop those back in warm water. Seal, no problem. And this one, fingertip tight. Now the rings are put on there to help the sealing process, and we want them to be screwed on fingertip tight. There we go. Add a couple more of them. Now after they're sealed, you take them out of the thing. Within 24 hours, we remove the band and we store them without the bands, because that's how you know they're sealed. Once they're sealed, you no longer need the band. All right, now I'm gonna put them in the water bath canner one at a time. And in the bottom of this, I put a silicone mat because you don't want it directly on the, I'm gonna put it on one of these mats. Because I'm gonna do a water bath canning, and this pot does not have a mesh or a metal rack for the bottom, so I use these silicone mats that I have when I'm using it for water bathing. Come on, stay there. I don't want them to fall over. Here we go. The water should cover the can, they say, the bottles. The water should cover the bottles, but as I put them in, the water will cover the bottles. So you're gonna put hot jam in hot jars in hot water. this line here also. One more to go. All right, let me turn on the timer. It should be 10 minutes, and then they should be all taken care of. That should do it, guys, and they should be sealed at the end of that process. This is what it looks like in the water bath canner. And this is just a regular pot I'm using for the water bath canner. They do have designated pots for it, but if you don't, you can use a regular pot, but you just have to put something in the bottom like those silicone mats that I have to get so that the bottle is not touching the bottom of the pot, which is directly on the fire. So now the 10 minutes has passed. I only had to process them in this water for 10 minutes, and now I have to remove them from the water. So I will be taking them. I would like for you to see how they look in the bottle, in the pot, sorry. So that's how you would pack them in the pot. Now if you had a canner, a proper canner, it comes with a rack and it makes things easier, so you can literally lift all the bottles out at once, but I don't. So I'm gonna improvise with what I have until I get one. So now I'm gonna take the jam out of the canner. Now look how pretty it is, look at the color. I think they turned out well, and now I'll put them over here. I'll take out a number of them. This was the biggest one. So now I'll be taking them out of the pot, and I'm gonna put them on this mat, and there's a reason I put them on the mat. This is a stone countertop. So because it's a stone countertop, it is cold. You should never take a hot jar out of hot water or out of the oven or anything and put it on this cold thing. It will crack your bottles or whatever that you put on it that's warm. And guys, some of these are already sealed, and with the heat and everything else, by tomorrow they'll be totally sealed. Did you hear that pop? That means it's sealing. The heat is sealing the bottle. So they're already sealing, guys. They're already sealing out. That's kind of warm, but... So all of these now will be able to be stored on your shelf for up to a year or more. Possibly 2 years, because I water bath them, I sealed them, I took all the necessary measures to make sure the bottles are sterilized and all of that. And they're good to go. You can give them out as gifts, or you can, store them on yourself. If you touch this, See, all of these are sealed. The covers are all sunken in. And so now I will not remove the cover, the rings, until tomorrow morning is when I will remove the rings. And at that time, you'll do a test to make sure that it is sealed. Now, I'm going to leave them right here. And now I'm going to show you, this is the jam. This was left over, and I just want to show you. And if my camera guy would zoom in, you could see that's my jam right there. And I'm going to use a spoon for you to see how thick it is. That's nice, yummy jam. And it tastes lovely. Now this can be used on toast with breakfast. It can be used also on anything for dessert. You know, you can use it on toast, on crackers. You can use it as a stuffing in muffins. It can be used for anything. It has a lovely, lovely flavor. And you can see the consistency is nice and thick. And that's exactly how I wanted it. I did not use pectin. I allowed the pineapple to use its own natural pectin with the sugar to come down and give this lovely consistency. Right? Now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and tomorrow I'll try and show you the rest of the process tomorrow once these are all sealed. And that's it, guys. It's been a pleasure.